Hi, my name is Rick Howell. I'm a TV guy, and this show is called Talk Back to Television. It's about the business of television, how we make the programs, how we distribute the programs, and mostly how we pay for the programs. Because if we can't pay for the shows, there's nothing to watch. Stay tuned. Hi, this is Talk Back to Television, and I'm here with Eric Baer. Eric, how are you?
I'm good, Rick. It's always good to be on the show with you.
I want everybody to know how we got to this place after the SAG-AFTRA AI agreement and conversation and debate and strike and all of that. I realized I wanted a friend who was I wanted somebody who was a SAG member and an AI geek to talk about all this. And I realized I have a friend who is both of those things. So Eric, you're on. Tell us right now what the primary issues have been with SAG and AI. What's the stuff that scares everybody?
Yeah, so and I do have a unique perspective on this, Rick, because you're right. I was programming Lisp on Symbolics machines in the 80s, and I got my SAG credentials in the 1970s. So I've been on both sides of this for quite a long time. And the things that people are concerned about today are reasonable to be concerned about.
Yep.
And we have a vote coming up. I'm getting postcards every day from the union to vote, telling us, why it's so important. And by the time this airs, the vote will have taken place.
Yep.
So we'll either have a deal or we'll be back to the drawing board. And who knows what that would mean. We could lose some of the concessions based on the leverage that we had at the 11th hour with the current deal. It's my hope that it passes, but the issues are multifold. One is people being able to have control over how their likeness is used.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's not so much AI in particular. Although AI could be used to animate that synthetic, that synth,
Yep.
that artificial person. People are concerned that they perform in a show or a movie that may be a standalone or it may be a franchise, and there was concern that they could be scanned in order to for a number of reasonable circumstances. The actor passes away.
Yep.
And the film is, mostly shot and they need to do some fill-in. Well, that's a reasonable thing to think about. There was concern that, once we're scanned, then the studios could do anything they want with that.
Right.
Throughout an entire franchise or outside of a franchise,
Sure.
or sell that likeness to third parties, to use in advertising or to use in anything else. That is not the state of the contract. In fact, you need to agree, if you want to agree, to having a scan done, to having a scan used. You need to have reasonable certainty about how it would be used. If I'm scanned and I do a set of scenes, but I don't want to do nudity, for example, you can't then use my digital replica to do the nude scenes unless I agree to it.
Right.
Or have me say things that I wouldn't want to be saying on camera as it is.
Yep.
So there's a reasonable expectation that we can have clarity around how it will be used, and it can only be used for that show or that season or that film, right? Unless you agree to otherwise. And if you have passed away and the rights have not been secured, the studio needs to go to your heirs.
Sure.
To get
estate.
the rights.
Yeah. Right.
To go to the estate. Yeah. And if they can't reach anybody at the estate, then they have to negotiate with a union on our behalf.
Yep.
So that's one concern, is that how will it be used? The other big concern is how will we be compensated? And I think the negotiating committee has come up with a really phenomenal solution that the studios have agreed to, is that if your digital replica, this avatar that looks like you, gets used, they need to pay you, including the health and pension
Yeah.
portions, for what amount of time it would have taken you to perform that. Maybe
Right.
they could do it really fast in the computer, but they need to put good faith effort, and it will be audited. I'm not sure exactly the mechanism for the auditing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That how much time it would have taken had it been done by you as a natural human being.
So if it would have taken a month to shoot a set of scenes, and that could, let's call that 20 working days, 8-hour days, then they would need to reimburse you for 20 working days, 8-hour days, as even if they used your image to go in there. It was as though they had actually done it live, right?
That's right. It's not reimbursement. It's just compensation.
Okay.
It's reported as compensation, just like if you were on set.
But to the studio's economic benefit, it could be far, far cheaper for them in terms of the set and the rental and all the staff and everybody else and everybody else and everybody else, some of whom need to be compensated. But it could be a lot less expensive for them to use your AI image and then compensate you for that AI image, right?
That is correct. And it's the union's intention through this new structure to disincentivize the studios from not using humans
Right.
as much as possible, because we'll kind of normalize some of the costs. Now, I don't imagine having a month worth of work. I don't see it at that scale. What audiences want to see is real people's emotions.
Sure.
Right. And the computers will keep getting better. And I'm a technologist. You know me. Before I got back into this side of the camera, I was an inventor, and I was creating stuff that would solve issues and make the workflow easier. So I know that the tech is going to keep getting better. The scans are going to get higher resolution. The musculature is going to get. Sure. But what we want to see is we want to relate to actors. We love the stories of real people who play it, and then we want to read about them in People magazine, and we connect with that full world of it. So there is concern, and part of where we get some large expenses are on crowd scenes, for example.
Yeah, right, sure.
And this has been going on for a long time, where we can fill in with multiples. And the protection that the union has, kind of the beachhead, is that for crowd scenes, there needs to be a certain number of real humans.
Yes, yes. And then the computer can go blanga, 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 and repeat them over and over again.
Right. And if a background actor, whether featured or not, is replicated, boom, 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 they've got to be compensated for that performance if it would have taken them more time.
Right.
And then what's also cool is, let's say you're a background actor or a featured background, and then they want to put words in your mouth.
Yes.
Well, you have to be upgraded to principal cast, and you have to be paid at the rate of somebody who did speak.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. We're going to run out of time long before we get this answered. We're going to have to come back and do this again. But how in the world is anybody going to figure out who's doing what to whom? How's this going to get tracked? How's this going to get managed? How many lawyers is everybody going to have to hire to lawyers and accountants? But I mean,
right.
Is that in place? Have people actually discussed how you do that?
Absolutely. I don't know that we have an answer yet, but there's some really smart people thinking about the problem. So think about digital watermarking.
Yeah.
The reason why Shazam can identify songs is because there's a digital watermark. It's not that they're hearing the bass line or the guitar solo. They're hearing a watermark that we don't hear. Similarly, there's metadata, just like in all our photos, that says it was taken with this camera on this date in this place. When you do a scan of an actor, we can embed a digital watermark into the data file that will carry with it throughout time and throughout applications. And that's a really smart way of doing it. People are talking about maybe using the blockchain
Yep.
so that there's a distributed ledger. And this is not just an issue in our industry. This is an issue generally.
Yeah.
You know, Biden has given us 18 months or so to get together a plan for protecting digital identity for citizens.
Yeah.
Generally. So I think this is a common, we can solve this together across industries.
Okay, so the digital watermarking with metadata. So that's really interesting. So you're not going to be walking around with a tattoo in your face. It is, sorry, it is going to be done digitally in the information that accompanies your image and the places that your image is used, give or take, right?
That's right. That's right. It gets complex. You know, there are places where we don't have good answers. For example, if someone were to take a scan of Rick Howe and take a scan of Eric Bear and put them together and say, we want Rick's blue eyes and, you know, Eric's jawline and, you know,
your hair, you got better hair.
And whatever it is, we put it together, you know, and then it doesn't look like, you know, no one would look and say, oh, that's Rick or that's Eric. It's a new person, but because it was made out of the two of us, it has both of our digital, you know, watermarks in it.
Wow.
Maybe we get a shared commission.
Yeah.
Use. Unclear what's the right thing to do there. I don't think there's a right answer.
That's actually very interesting. Okay. Well, you know, we will digitally watermark ourselves, and this will air in a couple of weeks after the vote is done. But and as I promote it, I'll be able to put the vote information in there. Great. And we're going to come back and have more of this conversation.
Todd Paulini with Winter Paulini Wealth Management.